There are moments in life when you look around and feel as if every face hides a secret you cannot read, and every smile carries a meaning you cannot quite decipher, leaving you unsure of where to place your heart. It becomes difficult to separate sincerity from performance, making each connection feel like a quiet risk. And in the stillness of that uncertainty, a heavy question rises inside your spirit, demanding an answer. You quietly ask yourself, who can I truly trust in a world that doesn't show its intentions? If Jesus sat in front of you today, he would look directly into your eyes with a depth that dissolves your fears, not judging your doubts, but understanding the wounds that taught you to be cautious with your trust. He knows what it feels like to be betrayed by someone close, and to love sincerely without receiving the same in return. That is why the words he would speak to you would carry a truth far beyond human advice or comfort. They would reach places inside you that you no longer allow anyone else to touch or even notice. He would begin by saying that trust is not something you stumble upon. It is something slowly cultivated, shaped by honesty, consistency, vulnerability, and the courage to show up even when it's hard. Jesus would remind you that the world may be obsessed with appearances, but he sees far deeper than that. He sees the intentions that live underneath every gesture, even those hidden behind practiced expressions. And he would tell you that trust begins where the heart speaks louder than the mask someone wears. Jesus would gently remind you that not every person is meant to stay for the entire journey of your life. For some people arrive only to teach you something important before continuing on their own path. Others appear to awaken strength in you that you didn't know you had until they pushed you to grow. And a very rare few are meant to walk with you through your storms without hesitation or complaint. Your challenge is learning to discern who belongs to which chapter without allowing bitterness to grow. He would remind you that Judas sat at his table, ate with him, and still chose betrayal when the moment came. And Peter, who loved him deeply, denied knowing him out of fear when everything became overwhelming. Many others followed him not for his truth, but for the miracles and the bread they could receive. Yet Jesus never allowed the betrayal of a few to poison his ability to love the many who were sincere. And he would tell you the same. Never let the actions of others redefine the goodness inside your heart. Jesus would say, pay more attention to actions than to the words that people decorate themselves with, because someone who is truly for you does not vanish when life becomes heavy or inconvenient. Someone who loves you does not retreat when you cry or when your world feels messy or imperfect. And a person who carries truth in their heart does not need grand speeches or dramatic explanations. Truth reveals itself even in silence, and it is within that silence that real loyalty becomes visible. He would explain that trust is not built on perfection, because no one on earth can offer that to you, but it is built on transparency, the willingness to admit flaws, and the courage to speak honestly. People who pretend to never make mistakes are far more dangerous than those who admit their errors. Mistakes make a person human, but deceit is a choice, and that choice reveals the real condition of the heart. Jesus would tell you to trust those who show you their truth, not those who hide behind perfection. Jesus would tell you to watch how people respond when you rise, when you succeed, and when you shine. Because envy does not applaud, and insecurity never celebrates the growth of another soul. People who truly care about you will rejoice when doors open for you, even before they open for them. Their joy is genuine because your light does not threaten someone who already carries their own. Real love does not compete with you. Real love adds to you and multiplies what is good in your life. He would highlight the importance of presence. For someone who disappears whenever you need help is not building a foundation with you, but merely passing through the scenery of your life for a moment. Trust cannot grow in inconsistent soil because inconsistency creates doubt instead of security. Jesus walked with his disciples daily, showing that presence is one of the truest forms of love. And he would tell you to cherish those who stay, not those who only appear when it's convenient. He would remind you that intuition is not anxiety or confusion. It is spiritual protection, a quiet alarm placed within you by God to warn you of what your mind has not yet processed. Your intuition is not a weakness, but a divine compass meant to guide you towards safety and truth. Jesus would tell you that ignoring your intuition often leads to pain that could have been avoided. Learn to honor those inner nudges, for they are messages sent in a language only your soul understands. He would tell you that trustworthy people will bring peace to your heart rather than storms to your mind, because love creates clarity, not chaos, and connection should bring grounding instead of confusion. If someone consistently creates emotional fog in your life, that alone is a sign to pay attention to. Your heart recognizes safety long before your logic tries to explain the situation in detail. Peace acts as a compass in relationships, and Jesus would tell you to follow it without hesitation. Jesus would show you that trusting someone does not mean placing them on a pedestal of perfection, but seeing their flaws clearly while still recognizing the sincerity and integrity within their character. No one is without fault, yet there are people whose hearts remain honest even when life tests them. He would remind you that honesty is far more valuable than an image polished to impress others. True trust is built not on idealization, but on the ability to see someone fully and still feel safe. He would warn you not to ignore patterns because people reveal themselves through repetition, and what someone does consistently matters far more than what they do occasionally or impulsively. A repeated behavior is a message, and even when words try to soften it, the truth remains unchanged. Jesus would tell you that character is not measured by moments, but by the rhythm of someone's actions. Believe what people show you more than what they promise, for patterns rarely lie. Jesus would gently say that trusting again requires courage, especially after you've been wounded deeply, because your heart remembers the coldness of betrayal and the sting of misplaced loyalty. Yet living with walls too high creates a different kind of suffering, a quiet loneliness that grows slowly. He would remind you that vulnerability is not weakness, but a form of strength refined by pain. And he would tell you that healing makes space for new trust, one step at a time. He would tell you to observe who brings light into your life without asking anything in return, because some people drain your energy without speaking a word, while others lift your spirit effortlessly. Your soul recognizes the difference long before your mind understands what is happening internally. Those who brighten your world carry a grace that cannot be faked or performed for benefit. Jesus would tell you to stay close to the light givers, for they reflect his presence on earth. Jesus would remind you that love is not proven in dramatic gestures, but in small, faithful actions. The messages responded to, the apologies expressed, and the support given even when no one is watching. Trust grows quietly in the details, in the daily choices that reveal someone's true loyalty over time. He would encourage you to observe who shows up in the ordinary moments, not just the extraordinary ones, because small acts of consistency form the strongest foundations in any meaningful relationship. He would say that trustworthy people do not need to be without flaws, but they must be steady and genuine, for their character remains intact regardless of circumstances or shifting emotions. They do not disappear when something better offers attention or when life becomes uncomfortable. Instead, they stay because they choose to, not because they are obligated or watched. Jesus would tell you that loyalty is shown in quiet commitment, not through loud declarations. He would teach you that trusting others becomes easier when you first trust God above all else, because when your heart is anchored in Him, you stop placing unrealistic weight on human shoulders. You no longer expect people to provide what only God is capable of giving: security, peace, and clarity. With God as your foundation, relationships become blessings rather than battlegrounds of fear. Jesus would say, "Let God hold what others were never meant to carry." Jesus would explain that sometimes God removes people from your life as an act of protection, even when it feels painful or confusing, because not everyone deserves access to your future. Separation can feel like loss, but often it is rescue dressed in disappointment and silence. He would tell you that what leaves your life was never meant to guide your soul or define your path. Trust that God's no is often His way of clearing space for something sacred and true. He would tell you that you deserve relationships built on truth, courage, and emotional safety. Connections where honesty is spoken even when it is uncomfortable or vulnerable to express. People who stand beside you in heavy moments reveal a loyalty deeper than any flattering words. Jesus would remind you that God will send these people at the right time, never too early or late. And when they arrive, you will recognize them by the peace they bring, not the excitement they perform. He would reassure you that loneliness is not a punishment, but a divine preparation for something greater. A season designed to strengthen your discernment, sharpen your wisdom, and heal your wounded trust. Solitude allows God to reveal who you are without the noise of external influence clouding your vision. Jesus would tell you that isolation often precedes revelation, shaping you for healthier connections ahead. Do not fear the quiet seasons. They are training your heart for something meaningful. Jesus would say that you must allow trust to grow slowly without forcing it to bloom before its time, because anything that demands immediate loyalty is often rooted in manipulation or hidden agenda. Real connection breathes freely and develops through shared honesty, time, and mutual vulnerability. He would tell you that trust built too quickly is fragile, but trust built gradually becomes unshakable. Give relationships the space they need, and they will reveal their true nature naturally. He would remind you that your heart is precious and deserves to be treated with great care and respect. So not everyone who knocks at the door of your life deserves full access to your inner world. Guarding your heart does not mean closing it. It means offering it wisely to those who show real value. Jesus would say that love should be given intentionally, not recklessly or out of loneliness. Your heart is a sacred place. Share it only with those capable of honoring what it carries. Jesus would softly whisper, "Do not be afraid," because fear makes you misinterpret people and moments, convincing you that everyone is a threat when in truth, some souls are sent to heal you gently. With Him guiding your steps, you are not walking blindly into relationships or uncertainty. He will show you who belongs, who does not, and who is merely a passerby in your story. You are never alone in choosing who to trust. Heaven walks with you at every step. And as His message settles into your heart, Jesus would encourage you to share this light with others, allowing the healing you received to ripple outward toward those still searching for clarity. If this message touched you, consider subscribing, liking, and commenting so more people can be reached. Your engagement helps this mission grow and sends comfort to someone who may need it today. Together, we spread hope, wisdom, and faith, one voice, one heart, and one message at a time.